You don't know, sugar.
How you doing, Marshall?
I'm great. How you?
We'd like to
It's
welcome you
always
to
good to
Black
see a voice of reason.
BlackUSA.News. Okay, all right. Good morning, Marsha.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Well, we got a wake-up call for you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, I'm very excited. The Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference is this week, and it's February the 11th through the 13th, 2021. And I'm telling you, it's 35 years as the most anticipated diversity event of the year. This annual conference is talent rich in bringing the most important people and the youngest people to the field of STEM for recruitment, networking, and personal development. There'll be corporate leaders, college representatives, thousands of professionals and students from across the country. There's an array of amazing folks from the entry level to CEOs representing folks in STEM. The field of expertise represented at the conference are as diverse as the men and women and children who attend. Highlights for the upcoming BEA conference: HBCU Village, K through 12 Village, the Interview Village, and the HBC Reunion. To attend, you must register at www.beya.org. And I've been involved with this organization and this conference for over 20 years. And it is the most exciting, enlightening experience I've had to see so many Black people in one environment, tens of thousands. We're in real life now, we're doing it virtually. But this is an experience that I would hopefully ask you to please bring your children. So while they're participating online, it's still an experience that they should have. Thank you.
Good deal. So, Marsha, how was your weekend?
My weekend was quiet, and I'll be right back.
All right. Well, we'd like to welcome back to the stage the one and only Larry Lancaster. Good morning, legend. How are you?
What's up, brother? I didn't realize I had to, go suit and tie. You looking like a guidance counselor over there, like an insurance salesman. I should have dressed to, to compliment the incomparable Donnie. You look like you redeemed all them K&G gift cards you got for Christmas.
So look, you didn't sign the disclaimer. The disclaimer. Well, we actually had look. You didn't sign the contract. The contract said you can't crack on the hose.
Crack on the hose, okay.
No, crack on her.
No, I'm not messing with her, Donnie. I'm on you. You look sharp though, brother.
Only thing I get from K&G, man, is like socks.
Yeah, okay. That's a K&G shirt and tie. It came together. I know it when I see it.
No.
That shirt, the tie, and the handkerchief all came on one hanger. I see it.
No. Man. They don't sell that at the K&G.
Oh, okay, Donnie. Okay.
They got some nice things at K&G, but I don't get my top nuts,
brother. No, I know it as I shop there, so I recognize the merchandise. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Y'all are cracking up this morning. It's so good to see these happy, smiling faces, laughing sounds on Monday morning. Good morning, Marsha.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Doing well.
I see y'all cutting up already. Mm-hmm. What you doing smacking with that gum over there? Can you hear? I can't hear it popping. You must have turned down the look. I know you snap that gum. You snap it. Snap it. Snap it. Snap, 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 snap. Snap, 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 snap.
That would be real suspect, Miss Marsha.
But you looking like that's what you doing because you rolling all of that right there, brother. So what is all that?
He chewing the cud, Marsha. He chewing the cud.
Yeah,
I like my friends.
Yes. I'm just trying to stay fresh. That's all. I don't want y'all to smell my breath virtually. Good morning.
Oh, it's that bad. It don't come through the ether. So
we have some smell-o-vision up in here.
Yeah, I don't want to cut the sound. Okay, I don't know how well the stream y'all works. So I just wanted to make sure.
Oh my God.
Well, we have to be careful. What you been doing? Where you? I know you up to something. You always up to something. What you been up to?
Well, I'm doing the radio show. Throwback Saturdays with Larry Lancaster. That's every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
What you talk about?
WEAA. So really, it's a music-driven show.
Okay.
We do different segments. I'll do a segment on the Black Fact. I'll do something like a food for thought if I come across something interesting that I think the listening audience should hear. And I do like a silly for the Saturday, which is like a joke. I'll do like a top 10. So I just do different segments, but generally it's all about the music.
I love it. That sounds like fun.
What's up with the city of Baltimore?
Can you sing? Can you sing though? Do you play an instrument?
Well, anyone with a voice can sing, but I can't sing well. Marsha.
Okay, you can't make a living out of. You're not trying to turn it into a new career path.
No, I can make a joyful noise. Emphasis on the noise.
Every Sunday.
Every Saturday.
No, I was laughing with the joyful noise as gospel.
Yes.
You didn't know that?
Yes, thank you.
Did
You know that, Marsha? Explain it.
I just want to mess with you because this is a great opportunity I've never had.
Really?
I want to take advantage. What? To sit and kick it with you and be silly with you? Oh, well, my goodness.
I appreciate that, Marsha.
Yeah.
You just seem like a real serious woman, though. You just
I am.
She's multifaceted. Don't underestimate it.
Larry,
many dimensions.
That's right.
Larry, we haven't seen her since this time last year.
Really?
Right.
I don't believe she's really in the United States.
And may not be.
Yeah, Marsha do seem like she's
off on an island somewhere.
She got a house in Cuba somewhere. Marsha do seem like that type.
And she got a guy to clean up the yard. What they call them, pool boys?
Yeah, Raul.
Chico.
Raul.
And they don't have to speak no English either. Like for what?
Raul.
But most of the women don't need them to speak English. You know, the pool
as
boy
I said,
got dual functions.
You never know.
But we do, Marsha.
That's funny.
Oh.
But we do.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And don't tell me about where you're sequestering, sir.
I'm in my struggling artist apartment.
There's more to that story.
No, I'm in my struggling artist apartment.
Boy, quit lying, because we already know. You ain't struggling nowhere.
That's why I got a hoodie on, because I don't have heat or none of that. I'm a cash app at the end of this broadcast, Donnie. I need some help over here.
I need my hip boots.
On your name tag.
Yes.
I need my hip boots, because you be talking some crazy.
Yes, that's what I'm supposed to do. But Marsha, you're a beautiful woman. I'm sure you heard it all before.
Isn't that a song? Heard it all before.
Yes,
dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah.
Look at Donnie sitting in the corner like, see, I done lost control of my show. Because Donnie was like, Larry, what's up with Baltimore? I'm like, that's a vague statement, Donnie. I have no idea what that actually means. So
right. Where do I start?
Right. Where do we start, brother?
Should we start with the airplane or the lights, or I don't know. What do you tell us, Larry, the comedian?
Well, I think shouldn't that be left up to Donnie? I'm just gonna say
interview
myself.
Donnie.
So Donnie, what's up with Baltimore?
I'm only gonna be here for a few more minutes, so I just thought I would hang out with you guys and talk mess.
Yeah, you sound like people who rent in neighborhoods where people buy. You just like, I don't really care. I'm only here momentarily, so
I just want to make my presence known for a moment. It's all good. We appreciate your presence.
Well, thank you, Queen. I appreciate being here. So thank you, guys.
It's lovely.
But yours too.
I love the energy. It's great.
So okay, you can Donnie. Off. What?
They will bank you. Before your cash goes through, they will bank you.
I see.
Right. And don't get it twisted. Don't let all this fool you.
Sometimes it's good twisted, Marsha.
Pardon me?
Sometimes it's better twisted.
Pardon me. That don't even sound right. That don't even sound right.
Yeah, don't not till you try.
Yeah, don't no, sir.
What's the material right now? What are your thoughts on the insurrection.
Well, it's a shame that it took white people to show black people how to riot, but and it's crazy because people got mad because they didn't feel they could no longer exercise their white privilege, and so to people who are oppressive, equality seems like oppression. And so when I pull up to a red light and I see a homeless white person, I instantly get angry because I'm like, you're a waste of racism. Do you understand how hard your ancestors worked to see to it that you had a fair shot? And that's the best you could do, you homeless? So I just feel bad. I don't like it.
North and 83 happened last night. North, right there in North and 83.
What?
Hey, Larry, what's
Man,
up?
White homeless people.
What's up with the bike lanes, Larry?
Oh, yeah, that's another sign of gentrification. That's like gang territory. So you know how you go in the hood and you see like a gang sign and the gang members let you know this is our hood. That's how white people let you know this belongs to us now. If you see a whole
bike lane,
a bike lane and a farmer's market, that's gang territory. That's a gang sign. That's like we done took this over. This belongs to us now.
I'm on the bike. I'm on the bike. I'm on the bike.
Right.
So do they call themselves G's too?
Right. This is they the old. You got the warlords, the vice lords, and the landlords. Those are the gangs.
They act like they're the bike lords because you can't drive nowhere around here without running into one of those poles.
We don't see one biker.
Right.
Ever. I've yet to see.
But they'll come.
Even before COVID.
It's a precursor. That's
It's
what it
just
is.
It's a little cold right now for bikers.
No, but even I'm a biker actually, right? And so even
did you want a bike lane?
You don't. Yeah, I appreciate them, but I wouldn't expect them to reconfigure traffic just for me. See, that's again.
Oh, so they wouldn't do it for a black biker.
Excuse me.
Black bikers get no props.
Well, I mean, you can use the bike lane, and black people don't trust traffic. Like, I don't ride in the street. I don't trust other black people not to run me over. So I ride on the sidewalk.
Well, Larry.
What about the white people driving in the car?
Larry, did you hear about that nun?
What? The flying nun?
She had a quarter pound. She had smoked a quarter pound of weed. She drank a fifth of liquor. She had cocaine. And she hit that biker in Northeast Baltimore. He went through the windshield.
Oh, I remember that. That was a few years ago. Yeah.
Her daddy was rich.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. It was a gray-haired lady.
Yeah, everybody thought it was Jane Miller, but it wasn't. It was the nun. That was she had that Jane Miller look, if you know what I mean. I'm just saying.
You know you're wrong for that.
I love Jane Miller, but she got a look like a woman's basketball coach. So anyway.
A moment of silence for the comment.
We know how to shut it down.
Yeah, Marsha's shutting it down.
Pivot.
Larry, what about black people in office, but you don't know they're black by their behavior?
Well, that's not really concerning to me. I'm more concerned with the policies. So who do your policies benefit? And again, as black people, we have to, it's okay to vote, but you have to have some collective economic pressure to impact. And so I always use the Jews as a catalyst for that. The Jews, it doesn't matter really if it's a Republican in office or a Democrat. Everyone has to kiss Israel's ass. And that's where we should be. It shouldn't matter if it's a Democrat in office, a black person in office, a white person in office. We have enough economic impact collectively to make sure that we buy our politicians and that they do the things that are in the black people's best interest. And until we do that, we're always going to be asking people to be nice to us instead of demanding it.
That's straight up no chaser too.
Yeah.
For real. And why hasn't that occurred? We've had all these people that are in quote unquote leadership that are leading black people that are heads of all these organizations. How do we galvanize all that power to make it happen?
Well, first of all, we have to be unapologetic about our blackness. We have to be unapologetic about what we want for our blackness. And we can't always assume just because someone's black and they're in office that they're going to have our best interests at heart. And so again, you buy politicians. That's how the game is played. You pool your resources and you respond collectively. Like when you do something to a Jewish person, you haven't done something to just one Jewish person. They respond as a race, as a collective unit. We don't respond that way. We only get angry collectively, but we don't have an economic impact. And so that's how you control law enforcement. Once you control the politicians, then you can control law enforcement. Once we buy politicians and they are adherent to our special interests, then we will see black people, unarmed black people, not being shot in the street. That doesn't happen to the Jewish community. That doesn't happen to the Asian community. It only happens to us and sometimes poor whites. So that goes to show you that it's not always a race issue. So a lot of times it's a class and an economic issue.
Mm-hmm. But how do we define what our politicians should do for us and identify those people who can go along with what the program should be? So we are electing politicians by what? Their name recognition or what we think they are. They're nice people. But have we really put together an expectation and a plan of what we want from these people and interview these politicians with the idea that whether or not they can answer those questions to the ability to their best of their ability to be able to do a change in our community? Are we allowing them a pass? Are we allowing them the opportunity for them to actually take on this big charge to be about the business of our community? Or do we just hire people because we're so not we're really not interested? We just flip a lever because somebody has more signs than the other one. But do they really know what their mission is when they go into the city council, when they go into the mayor's office, when they go into the—
That's a long question, Marsha.
It may be, but that's what we have to have. It's
That's
something
reality,
that's defined, something described that we can articulate to the people when they get ready to vote. They understand what they're getting.
See, Lauren,
We know what we mean.
You got somebody trying to rush off the show and they trying to get
I would still be doing this if I was sitting here all day long now. So don't even try it.
I'm gonna ask this question until I
What's
leave.
the question? She said a damn dissertation.
Once I ask the question, I'm not gonna be able to stick around for the answer. I'm gonna have to go.
Stop.
But no, it's actually,
that's why I love my friends. Go ahead.
That's like black people come over your house with aluminum foil,
right? She's like, I'm gonna take some of this with me. But it was actually a great question because I'm not sure what we are doing it. First of all, who's speaking for us collectively? Who are those people that we would even ask to present our demands? And I call them demands because that's how you have to frame it. This is what we want. We're insisting upon it. So what are those things? And of course, you've heard this before. Not all black, we're not monolithic. So everyone has different concerns, and it may be different depending on what your social, economic, and educational background is.
I disagree. When that police car pull up behind a black person, we are monolithic because we all know that the outcome, no matter how light, dark, rich, poor we are, when that whoop, 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 when that go off in the back, we all feel in the same boat.
But that's one aspect though, Donnie. And so there are many different things that affect the black community. It's not just police brutality. And so one of the reasons that we are affected by police brutality to the degree that we are, again, is because we don't control that. We don't put pressure on the politicians to put pressure on law enforcement to not disrespect us, to not shoot us if we're unarmed. We don't control our media. So therefore, we've been able to be vilified for decades, where your black skin has been weaponized. So you don't need a weapon to a police officer. Your presence is a weapon. And so until we change those narratives at the same rate that the LGBT EIO community have changed their own narrative. You see how they've been able to infiltrate the system and shape a narrative because they control the tenets of power. They have
what black people got to do, bro? We just trying to go to work and not go through all it. Why you gotta have a special interest group to teach this racist son of a gun that I'm a
because everybody else has it. It's until we understand how to play the game, we gonna always lose. You gotta have things that speak for you. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. You gotta be able to support those $10,000 dinners and all of that.
The ground. We built Black Wall Street, 35 square blocks, self-determination. Then these cats in the town over get jealous and come and burn down all our stuff.
Okay, but have we rebuilt it? Where's our Black Wall Street now?
In the first place?
Where's our Black Wall Street now, though, Donnie? We got all these millionaires and billionaires, and they rather go to a club and spend $250,000 on the bar tab instead of buying a politician. That's our problem.
I know y'all gonna solve it all. Take care.
Bye, Marsha.
Bye.
Bye, Marsha.
Take care.
Yes. I love your hair.
Thank you, baby. See ya.
But I mean, it's not like we're disagreeing, Donnie. It's just that it's different issues at play, and it's not just one.
Well, the thing is, you made a really good point when you talked about how these other communities are able to come together. They're coming together in a unified thought, and then they're putting their money behind that thought. So the question is, then how do we do that? We've got a number of organizations, a multitude of organizations, NAACP, just to name one, that are, claiming advocacy for the Black community. And so where do we get the support for that, to really come through with an agenda, action, and accountability?
Well, when I was saying about being unapologetically Black, we have to stop opening up our organizations to people who may not have our best interests at heart. Now, from what I understand, that a lot of those civil rights organizations have Jewish people on their board of directors. They have Jewish influence. And so therefore, they can't really go as hard as they would like to. But the Jewish community, they don't have Black people on their board of directors. When they have their special interest groups and all those things, they don't consult with us to see if it's okay to see if their agenda aligns with us, but we do it for them. And so that's, I think, with a lot of times where people don't like Minister Farrakhan, because he speaks out against the inordinate influence and power that other races have on us. We're not speaking for ourselves, even when it appears that we are.
So do you think it's necessary for us to recognize the difference between being Black and a minority?
Yeah, we should call it what it is. And I think when we say minority, that's us trying to be politically correct instead of being unapologetic.
And that's an American term, because worldwide we're not a minority, far from a minority.
Right. So if you want to say this is the Black agenda, not a minority agenda, because that's us trying to be kumbaya, we should be specific about it the way everyone else is.
So then when we talk about minorities, are we really talking about Black people? Are we really talking about the Black?
I don't use the word minority. I use Black. That's the name of my book, by the way, Larry. I don't know that you got it. Unapologetically Black, Donnie Glover.
Wow. No, I did not know I was just plugging your book for like 5 minutes. But
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, we have to be unapologetic about it. And also we have to stick to what is our agenda. We get too mixed up in everyone else's agenda. Even with the immigration fight, we got involved with that. And I understand, but generally speaking, when it's an issue that affects Black people, the Hispanics don't collectively ally with us and say, hey, the LGBTQ community doesn't collectively side with us as an ally, but we do it for them. And we have to stop doing that. We got to stick to what matters to us, stay out of other people's business, and stay in our lane. And so
Larry, would you identify that as possibly a community codependence, mindset?
Yeah, Yeah, of course. And I think we do it with the rationale that it's strength in numbers, but we have our own numbers. We don't have to ally with other people to get our agenda passed.
Have you
Right,
been
but
to
understand that
Africa?
the constant thinking in the U.S. has been towards depleting the strength of the Black community, and so in doing that, we have as a community been undermined in feeling that we have enough to stand on our own 2 feet.
Have you been to Africa yet, Larry?
No, I haven't, brother.
We got to go to Africa.
The closest I've come is those Nigerian emails that I get telling me I got $30 million in the bank. If I just give them my banking information, that's the closest.
Well, you know, every European nation is up in Africa some kind of way. Now the Chinese up in there.
Oh yeah, they raping it. That's how all of these, you got these crazy rich Asians. A lot of them are getting their money and resources because now they're the new colonizers of Africa.
So when are we going to Africa?
When are we going?
There is an exodus to Africa. There's an repatriation
to do some business. Botswana got diamonds. Right. South Africa got diamonds. Nigeria got oil.
Well, I mean,
the thing that makes the cell phones, everything on earth, they got right there in Africa. Every European nation, and you talk about the diamonds. What we don't have is the things to turn them into, you know, ready for this, ready for the
right.
That's what we don't have.
Okay.
And I don't understand that. I mean, we got the raw materials, but we don't have the equipment. And that's how they get it. And then they come in, they give you $20 to bang me in the mouth, and then, you know, they give me $5 to go over. You know, they divvy us up.
Right, divide and conquer, of course. But we can go on and on about what the problems are, Donnie. What are the solutions? How do we fix it?
Well, we're going to talk to, when's your birthday?
Me, July 26th.
Well, we get ready to bring up the state's attorney from Prince George's County. I think her birthday around that time. You know, state's attorney Aisha Brave-Boy, she might be the county exec one day. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of it. Very sharp sister.
Well, y'all birthday around the same time. Got 2 Leos.
Yeah, I was gonna say my birthday is the 29th, so I'm a Leo. And
yes.
Great to see you.
Shout out to the Leos.
Leos in the house.
Welcome, Miss Brave Boy. How are you today?
Well, thank you, Yvette. Slow down. You had some coffee this morning. So, Larry, any final thoughts? I ain't gonna just kick you out because you wouldn't just kick me out.
Yeah, because I didn't know it was time for me to go, Donnie, so I appreciate that.
I thought Larry was going to hang around. I was
you can stay. You can stay.
When they enter the room, right, Donnie?
Donnie said I had to go, so I'm gonna go with Donnie. If I gotta leave, Donnie.
Well, this is why, Madam State's Attorney, he has the propensity to bust a joke on you when you like, don't do that, Larry. Not right now. And he'll do it right now.
Well, I mean, you know, we can go back and forth. So, you know, I'm good.
See, I can tell you know, with a name like Aisha, she ready. She ready to go. She ready.
I stay ready.
I know that's right.
All right, where can people catch you on Saturday mornings?
WEAA 88.9. You can go to weaa.org if you want to listen on your phone to any type of streaming device. And it's Morgan Station, because a lot of people will remember it better that way. And the show is called Throwback Saturdays, 10 a.m., 12 noon. And it's the best radio show in the DMV. And I take the Pepsi challenge with that.
Are you doing gigs?
Yes, I have some gigs coming up. It's kind of slowed down, of course, because of the COVID regulations, but I am still performing, but just nowhere near at the rate that I was. And I'm actually enjoying the break, to be honest with you.
No, we gotta get you back to work. You're gonna be a fat boy. Well, how can people book you?
They can contact my manager, Julie King, and you can reach her at 410-917-3048, or you can catch me on any social media platforms at comedian Larry Lancaster. Okay, one last question. What do you foresee happening this year, 2021, that's going to be good for all of Maryland? I think that there's more attention paid to the economic impact of small businesses. And I think that's being more intentional about trying to keep those small businesses alive. I think that's going to be a good thing. And more intentional relief. And a lot of people are creating their own businesses as a result of the economic impact. So that's always a good thing too. People are finding a way to operate in a new normal.
Good deal. Larry Lancaster, much love and respect. And we got to get you out to some venue real soon.
Okay, thank you, Donnie. Always appreciate your fight, brother. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Cavett. Nice meeting you, Queen.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you, Larry.
All right, State's Attorney.
All right, my Leo brother. Good to see you.
Madam State's Attorney, how you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing great. How are you?
Blessed by the best. Blessed by the best. No, special thank you to Denise Smith. You know, she's just a whirlwind. She's everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful communications director like Denise.
So how have you been? What's been going on?
Well, I've been busy. Even though the courts aren't fully open and we're not having jury trials right now, we still have a lot of work that we're doing. I think most of our cities and counties have seen increases in crime during this pandemic. It's really, unfortunately, a nationwide kind of issue, and some of the trends that we're seeing, especially amongst really young people, with respect to carjackings and shootings, and homicides are up slightly here. So, I mean, we've been busy, but we're also busy working on reforms too, and that's keeping us not only busy, but I think it's keeping us really motivated that we can make really good positive changes for the future. So we're doing a lot of work here, but we're fortunate to be in these positions to make change. So I'm excited.
And for those who may not know, Prince George's County is considered the wealthiest or one of the wealthiest Black jurisdictions in the country. And before being state's attorney, you were in the Maryland House of Delegates. Where do you see yourself in the future?
Right now I love the work I'm doing. So I'm excited. We are working on some great reforms here in Prince George's County that we hope will take off across the state. One of those, which is we were the first in the state to really focus on the issue of juvenile lifers and giving juvenile lifers a second chance. So we've been able to have nine juvenile lifers who we have considered through our new conviction and sentencing integrity unit, and they have been since released. And we're working on several more cases right now. We have several more that we filed joint motions for, or that we're in the process of evaluating. So I'm really excited about that. I know that Baltimore City recently joined us in that effort, and now we have a statewide bill so that other jurisdictions that don't have state's attorneys that are willing to take this on, that those inmates would still have the opportunity to be considered by the court. So that's something that's happening now. But in addition to that, what I'm also really excited about is we're developing a program called the Emerging Adult Program. And these are individuals who are not considered juveniles. Juveniles are those under the age of 18. But there are individuals ages 18 through 26 who, quite frankly, while they are not considered juveniles, they often think and act and respond not like what you would consider adult behavior. And so some of them have committed very serious offenses, and we certainly hold them accountable. But we also have to focus on restoration for them. So we're in the process of completing an MOU with the State Department of Public Safety and Corrections, as well as our local Department of Corrections, so that we can assist those directly who are doing time, but they are still part of our community. We don't want to be disconnected from them completely for the period of time that they are incarcerated. They are still a part of our community. They're going to return to our community, and we care about their progress. And we have a very small pilot because, of course, when you're working with nonprofit partners, they need resources too. So we have limited resources right now until we are able to grow the program. But our nonprofit partners have been willing to take on a few cases. And I can tell you what it results in is when we are in court, we can ask for less time. We can require participation in our emerging adult program. And upon successful completion, depending on the nature of the offense, we can ask for a PBJ so that they have the opportunity to have their record expunged. Or we can reduce the charge that they were ultimately convicted of, or go with a lower charge that they were convicted of as their quote unquote permanent charge, so that they are not, let's say, hampered by a felony as they try to move forward with their lives. So our goal really is restoration, but also accountability, because, we can't just let people, I don't want to say get away with it, but we can't just understand that they have challenges that may have led to these crimes without thinking about the victims too, and the impact on the victims and on our community.
Minimize the consequences.
So they have consequences.
Last week was a busy week there in Prince George's County. I understand there's a lot of attention being placed on. Let's see, what was the latest news? It came out Friday. So on one hand, I know Colin Bird, the mayor of Greenbelt, has been raising the noise about police reform. But at the same time, the editorial came out. We saw that the county executive has been, and you have been making move towards holding police officers accountable. Can you tell me about that?
Well, yes. Well, actually, the county executive, she had a press conference on Friday announcing 46 reforms that the county's police department is going to make, and the administration is going to make to reform the department. My office has always been responsible for holding police officers accountable. We have already created a public integrity unit that investigates police misconduct. We charge officers, we prosecute officers. We've already been doing that. We also have a academy that is that trains and now teaches our police officers and things like constitutional policing, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, search warrants, all of the issues that we face as a country, dealing with issues of policing. We have developed classes for. So we've been holding those classes since last summer for our officers. So we support the reforms that the county executive announced, but we are also responsible on our side to do our work, and we've been doing that for almost 2 years now.
Kavette, you live in Prince George's County. Might you have any questions for the state's attorney?
Yes, well, I actually heard that she's having an event coming up this week. So
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we have a town hall this week, and Donnie, you'll appreciate this because you get to hear a lot from Black female prosecutors. A lot of us have taken the reins of leadership in our respective jurisdictions. We talk about the reforms, we talk about the impacts on our communities, but sometimes what we don't hear, or what gets lost in those conversations, is the perspective of Black male prosecutors. And so we have a town hall event this week that my office is sponsoring, called Caught in the Crossfire: Black male prosecutors and the dilemma of consciousness. And I'm really excited about this town hall. It is an idea that I had that came about last year after the death of George Floyd. And when I looked at those 8 minutes and 46 seconds of, someone being murdered, a Black man being murdered, I thought about how my Black male prosecutors must feel in this moment, because their job obviously is to, enforce the law, to seek justice for the communities, and often that involves prosecuting individuals that are arrested by police officers. But on the other hand, they are Black men in America, and they recognize that George Floyd could have been them, could have been one of their relatives, their sons, their fathers, and being in this field, this law enforcement, public safety field, like it's tough, because on the one hand, we want to protect our communities. We have every right to hold these offices and do this work. But on the other hand, I do feel like there is oftentimes this dilemma, because you wonder, was this person targeted? Were they over policed? Were they treated fairly in the process of their arrest? I mean, all of that has to go through your head. And I wanted Black men to be able to be in a safe space where they can talk about these issues, not only talk about them, but then also develop solutions on how we can create a more fair and just system of justice, how we can really talk about issues around how Black men are treated and socialized in our communities and in our schools, and how that impacts them and their behaviors and how they feel about themselves, and therefore what they are willing to do. I think all that has to be on the table, because we need real solutions. We know that locking folks up is not the sole answer. It's not even the best answer. It is a solution to a problem, but who's addressing the problem? And who knows better than Black men themselves, because they're the ones who've experienced the discrimination. They're the ones who are looked at strangely when they are driving their cars or walking into stores. They're the ones who have to have those conversations with their sons. I want their perspective on the table, and I want them to help us come up with solutions as we move forward with criminal justice reform.
Madam State's Attorney, as you were talking, something came to me, and I just have to put it to you. Maybe you'll catch it. Our foster kids, when they come out of foster care, does that ever come across your desk?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had a number of foster children who are in the criminal justice system. It's a big issue because, when they turn, 18, 21, I mean, that's it, and some of them, many of them don't have that strong foundation of support to be successful in life. And they are often, they're looking
thrown away, discarded.
Yeah, and they're looking for validation. They're looking for a group to belong to. And that's when some of these groups that target people who have these type of vulnerabilities, they will target people who may have come from challenged backgrounds and pull them into their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And it's just really unfortunate because, it's funny that you bring that up, because Delegate C.T. Wilson was in the foster care system. And he often talks about the bad decisions he made as a child as a result of not only being in the foster care system, but also being abused, being physically and sexually abused in that system. And what we don't know often is the story of these individuals. People aren't just in the foster system just because they happen to be there. They're often in the system because the family life was tragic, or they were victims of abuse, or their parents were strung out. There's so many different reasons why children end up in that system. And all of that is traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you grow up with that trauma and it's never fully addressed, then you just become a broken adult. And so you're more susceptible into getting into different lifestyles and activities that are not, that are not positive.
So that brings up another question too
Mhm.
about mental health, because that obviously is
So
a
what's the
big
question? Because I know you can be long with it. Long with it. Come on. Yes, we got on the clock. Come on with it. What we doing for the mental
He's
health?
just a control freak. That's all.
Okay, that's
I
okay.
like to get to the point.
So, Ms. Brayboy, as I was talking about mental health, the question is, what do you guys have in place? Do you have a special unit that deals with the mental health cases that come across your table? Are there, enforcement efforts in that area where Black men are concerned in PG County as well?
Yeah, we actually have a mental health court in Prince George's County. And so those who are identified as candidates or individuals who may have a mental health issue are directed and diverted into mental health court. But right now, mental health court only operates in the district court. So those are your misdemeanor offenses. What we have been talking with our chief judge about is expanding mental health court to circuit court, where we know, unfortunately, a lot of those individuals end up in our circuit court because they may have committed a felony. And we don't want them to get lost in that mix and not get the services they need, because these are the individuals that will go into jail or prison for a period of time, come out, and still need help. Right? Or they'll commit the same offense or a more serious offense because they haven't gotten the help. And that's the issue, because then they're trapped, right? They're now they're confined, and they may not be treated well, and they're not getting the services that they need. Yet they're definitely coming out. Most people who go into prison, they don't stay there for life, right? So they may stay for 5 to 7 years, possibly, more or less. And then they're back in our communities with the same or worse issues than what they went in with. And so that's why our emerging adult program, which I'm really excited about, really being able to launch fully, will help to address those issues for that age group, 18 through 26, when they go in. So they are not just throwaways. They're not just in prison and being punished. They are being restored, because again, these are individuals who are definitely coming back for the most part to our communities, but that need help. And we can't just look at them and just see the crime that they committed. We have to look at them and see the possibilities of who they are. We have to believe that they are brilliant. We have to believe that they can help our communities and our society. We have to value them in order to put that type of work into them. And
Absolutely.
so we're willing to do that, because I do value them. I understand they've committed a serious offense. I understand that they have to that there has to be consequences, but it's not going to be for the rest of their lives. And so then what? And I think that's what we really have to really focus on. So I'm really excited about being able to really roll this out a little bit more than what we have, but at least we have the concept going. And now it's really just about getting partners in place and getting the funding in place in order to really have a more robust program.
So I know that you guys deal with these situations once they, have obviously committed a crime and now they're being, prosecuted, going through the legal system. Do you have any partnerships with organizations before the fact? So as Donnie talked about, being able to, understand these folks who are, in foster care homes, sometimes coming from group homes, because, their home family situations were challenging, and obviously they weren't able to grow up in their home environment. So that you're able to use that, I guess, as a measure of defense for them, the services that they have received in advance of having committed the crime. I mean, is there any foundation for that?
So we've started now. We have an MOU with our school system,
Okay.
and which I'm really excited about. And what we're doing there is for those young people. Right now, they're not in school because of the pandemic. But when they go
What
back
is an
in,
MOU, please?
oh, a memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
So really an agreement between us and the school system to share information and also to provide restorative justice within our schools. And so for those young people who are committing offenses in the schools, instead of them being, you know, uh, arrested, charged, and then our office has to consider whether or not we're going to move forward with prosecuting them. We are working to create restorative justice models within our schools so that if a child does commit an offense, instead of being referred and arrested and referred to our office, they are now referred to a diversion program within their school that can assist with restoration. And I think that is what the model that we need is. And in addition to that, the children have identified counseling as a big need for them. We had a
You know what my mama's counseling was? You know what my daddy's counseling was?
What?
He pulled that belt off, and if you really acted up, he'd do it at the school. Now, that never happened to me, but do you ever wish that you could bring back allowing parents to whip their kids' hind parts and put prayer back in the schools? That's what I think.
Well, what I do believe is that meditation is extremely important.
My mother did not meditate.
Well, I can tell you that meditation is,
and we see the results of
that. I think finding ways to deal with stress, to deal with anger is extremely important. And so what I believe is that we should give the kids what they've asked for. They haven't asked for weapons. What they've asked for was counseling. They asked for someone they can talk to. Our children go through so much that we have no idea about. And the pressures that social media puts on our children, we wouldn't even understand because we didn't have social media.
And the judgment they receive within our community even, because people will look at them and see that they're doing something bad and believe that they need to have a whipping, as opposed to recognizing that there is some trauma that they're responding to that has caused them to act in that way. And when we have matured as a community and get to the point where we're able to recognize that violence is not the solution within our community, then we can maybe then be an influence for others.
Telling my mother that.
Violence as well.
Please preach, Yvette. Please preach. No, but you're absolutely right. I even think about growing up, and I'll just keep it personal. I mean, I grew up at a time where being of my complexion was, really not looked at very favorably. And I was teased mercilessly as a child.
You are beautiful, Madam State's Attorney.
I appreciate that.
And she knows that now. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But growing up,
thank you very much.
Being told and being teased and hair being put, all of that stuff, it is traumatizing. I was very fortunate to have a family who supported me, loved me, understood, and reinforced my beauty and my validation as a person. But wonder if I did not have that. You see what I'm saying? Wonder if I didn't have that. And how then would I have processed that? Would I have been angry? Would I have lashed out? Would I have fought? Would
they
I have
were hating on you because you're beautiful. That's all that was. That was hater.
But what I say that all to say that when I look at these young people, I see myself. I see some of the challenges I might have had. But again, I was very, very fortunate. And it's not always just about the family life, because sometimes people have loving families, but how they process things is just different. And maybe they don't want to talk to their families about it. but then if there someone in school who they can talk to, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and sometimes they don't have that because counselors are bounced around from school to school because there's so few of them, or the counselor that they have, they just can't relate to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that what the young people have asked for, they've asked for people who they can talk to, who will hear them, who will listen to them, who will really validate some of their issues. And I think we have to really focus on that. We can't not focus on that and expect things to change.
Well,
Absolutely.
I want to volunteer to come and speak to any young people there in Prince George's County, whether they're in a facility or not. We used to do a ministry at Baltimore City Jail called Love for L. This was L section, young men charged with adult crimes between the ages of 14 and 17. To which I have to ask, how many Black men are showing up without lawyers?
Well, I can't tell you the percentage, but I can tell you that everyone has access to a public defender if they are unable to afford a lawyer. So no one doesn't have a lawyer.
No, if we can get Jay Wendell Gordon, Ivan Bates, and some others to do some pro bono work, I mean, is it like 10%, 50%?
Well, I don't know that when you say show up without a lawyer, I don't know. We don't have a lot of people who don't have either a private counsel or who have been assigned a public defender. That is
because there's the notion, at least in Baltimore City, and it's not fair, but that the public defenders work for the government.
Well, I don't know about that. I can tell you our public defenders they definitely work for their clients, okay? And they put up a fight for their clients. So I would say that, you know, by and large, what my experience has been with the public defenders is that they fight for their clients, and there's not a whole lot of difference between having a private counsel and a public defender. But, you know, I mean, everyone's experience is going to be different.
So what do you see yourself? You're not going to say you're not going to be county executive shortly?
I'm going to be the best state's attorney I can be. I want the programs that, you know, I've talked about, especially this emerging adult program that I think is going to be revolutionary, because I'm trying to address the issue of mass incarceration. And what we know is that when individuals, let's say they get caught with a handgun in the commission of a crime, we know that they are likely to do significant time because they've committed a felony and now they're using a firearm. And what we know is that individuals who are sentenced to 10 years or more, 80% of them in the state are Black, and for the most part, Black men. And so how do I address that without looking at how we address the sentencing portion of it? The sentencing portion of it is meant for punishment. It is also meant allegedly to ensure that there's some type of rehabilitation, but we know that the traditional, you know, ways that our men and women are incarcerated, they don't really get that rehabilitation. So my focus now is saying that if we can provide true rehabilitation, then we can ask for less time. And so I want to be able to see this program actually work. And so that takes time, and I am committed to this change.
So what is involved in your emerging adults program? I mean, you're talking, I've heard that mentioned a couple of times. I mean, what kind of counseling, what kind of education? Is there a financial education course? Is there a basic living course? You know, those kinds of things that are being provided for them. What's involved with that?
It's everything. So I'll tell you that the emerging adult program, as we envision it, will be a program where if an individual is 18 through 26 and fit within our criteria, meaning they haven't committed a homicide or rape or felony domestic violence offense. So, you know, because there's certain offenses which, you know, we cannot, it would be very difficult for us to ask for less time, you know, but when it comes to other types of offenses that we know of, the first degree assaults, the robberies, the strong arm carjackings, things like that. We know that we need to provide consequences, which we will.
Well,
but,
are they getting counseling before the fact is what I'm asking with their emerging
with emergency? No, so when they plea, so when they plea, I apologize. So when they enter into their plea agreement, they are entering into an agreement that would require them to be a part of an emerging adult program. And we have nonprofit partners that will go in to our jails and prisons and actually provide comprehensive mentoring services. So everyone would be provided with a mentor, and then everything from financial literacy to education to just life skills, life training, how to speak, because a lot of individuals who are behind bars, they don't know how to communicate. They don't have a real command of the English language, so it's really difficult for them to even find employment. How do you find even basic employment if you don't know how to properly communicate? And so these are there's a 14-step program that one of our partners has to really train these young men in a variety of different young men and women, in a variety of different areas. But the most important, I think, is to have that mentor that they're assigned to, who will be their advocate. So when they come up for, let's say, a motion for reconsideration of their sentence, they can say, hey, I've been working with this individual. Here's all of the things that I've seen them do. And me as the state, I can look at it and say, yeah, we have seen great improvement in that person. And in some cases, we're going to be able to support a motion for reconsideration of a sentence. But in agreeing to participate in the program, we're going to ask for a reduced sentence. So we may ask for a sentence that is below what's called the guidelines. And the guidelines are, I guess, really advice really to judges on how to sentence an individual based on the offense and their criminal history. And so once, so let's say and I can give you a case because we've tried this approach in a few cases just to test it out and see if our judges would support it. There was a case where an individual had committed an offense that we really could have charged attempted murder, but we went instead with a first-degree assault. And so, which moved their guidelines significantly, because if you can imagine being charged with attempted murder versus, so that already reduced the guidelines. And
the guidelines would be the years of sentencing that they could receive.
The years that the judge would sentence them between. So I think their original guidelines were like 7 to 10 years, but because we charged the lesser offense, we move forward with the lesser offense, their guidelines were 3 to 5 years. And because they agreed to be in the program, the judge ended up sentencing that individual to 18 months.
Is that what you call restorative justice?
It is part of restorative justice. Yeah, it's a restorative justice model. And again, this is an individual who was 18 years old. So the difference between that individual spending 18 months in jail and 5 years in jail is college.
Absolutely. Well, because those are the formative years of their life. Absolutely. We got
to give
thank you so much. We appreciate you being here to share this information with us. We will look for more about not only what your office is doing in terms of being able to provide this rehabilitation for these individuals, both men and women in our county, but also being able to recognize the situation concerning the nonprofit partners that are participating in a preventive measure, to be able to keep them from even having to come through your office. So
absolutely. Thank you so much, both of you. It's great seeing you both today.
We have to bring you back.
I would love to. And I think that some of the Black male prosecutors who are going to be participating in the town hall. I think it'd be great for you all to bring them on your show too.
Absolutely. So
would
please
love
tell
that.
our viewers how we can connect with you there. How can we connect with you there?
Yeah, we will. Denise can provide you with all of that information.
We got that.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Got it.
Madam State's Attorney, we thank you so much. We're so proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
you can avoid me if you want, but I foresee you being county executive one day.
Well, I'm excited about the job I have today.
And then
It
governor.
was awesome to meet you.
And then governor.
Meet you as well.
Yeah.
And then governor.
And then
And congratulations for all the measures you all are implementing currently.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're
Okay. Have a great day. Okay.
You too. Take care.
Thank you, Denise. All righty. So it's been a good day. Good day.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. It's been a very interesting week. We will have a special guest tomorrow, Tamara Brown, former MBE chief for Baltimore City. Up to date, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it regardless of how I feel. I appreciate you, Kavette, you little bully. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, Black USA.
Good morning, Black USA.